It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
Baseball!
How excited were you guys for the new era of Twins baseball over the weekend in Cleveland?
I actually consumed a lot of it. Like, I'm an Austin Martin stan, going back many years. I was a little triggered personally when the day after all the dust settles. I guess it would have been Friday night, right?
Yeah.
The dust settles, and it's time to make a new lineup card after you just traded 40% of your active roster, and you have is it Alan Rodin, random guy that came up.
Yep.
They're batting like new random guy second.
Yep.
And Austin Martin, who hasn't played a plate appearance in the major leagues yet this year.
Yeah. Yep.
Who I stand for, and I see the vision for Austin Martin. But we're still going to make Royce Lewis earn it. We're going to put him in that fifth hole or whatever it is. Like,
just vented like right away.
Yeah, you're just stewing.
The weekend off to a bad start.
Well, doesn't he kind of project as a 5-hitter? It's like, okay, you just nuked your whole roster here. Yep. And part of this is about Royce is now, Correa's gone. This is Royce Lewis's franchise. Whether it's worked out perfectly or not, he's had some injury issues. He's butted heads with the manager. He's made comments about the front office. Like, there's been some friction there. But this was a perfect opportunity to say, and philosophically, they believe that the best hitters in a lineup on a team should bat first, second, third in a lineup. And they're still putting him fifth. I think he batted cleanup. Did he get to the third spot at some point? Can't crack the top three.
Yeah, I think he batted cleanup yesterday.
Okay.
I was excited.
It's like they're sending a message to him still that, like, we'd rather put these random new guys at the top of the order and keep you where you belong in the fifth spot until you earn it.
I spent the weekend incredibly excited to consume Houston Astros baseball and to watch Carlos Correa. I think he looked at strike 3 from Jordan Hicks, who just basically whizzed the bed at Target Field last week. Bases loaded, bases juiced. Carlos Correa takes strike 3. I was very.
You're gonna hate watch him the rest of the season?
Yes, I am. I lead this team.
It'll be like me with Falcons games last year.
I will only go back to Houston. Well, of course you'll go back there. By the way, when you guys get a second, look at Rodin's wiki page, and look at his degree or education.
Smart guy.
I came across it yesterday because I'm like, who is this guy? And if the wiki page is right, it is incredible. He's
actually he had really good numbers in AAA. Eno Saris did a write-up on him over the weekend at The Athletic as actually one of the guys to watch post-trade deadline to see if he has a kind of a clear runway here.
Sure.
I'm excited to see him. What is his wiki page?
So he earned a Bachelor of Science in Physics with a concentration in astrophysics from Creighton in 2022. And in 2020-21, he was a recipient of a NASA Nebraska space grant. So he's probably one of the smartest players in Twins history after 3 days. And this is not like I actually think he has. There's so much to unpack here, and I'll shut up and let Declan set this up. But like, there's a lot of interesting pieces here that they acquired. But just like the way that they got to the trade deadline, and now the stories that are coming out. Bob Nightingale did a full-scale insider report about how the Correa trade went down. And then Derek Falvey sends out this just absolute ChatGPT framed letter to season ticket holders. But if you can sift through all of that and just like the bad process and the poll ads and stuff, there are some internally and externally players that they brought in via trade, some fun guys to watch over the next couple months. I will say that.
So here's what I'll do. I'll give you a state of the Twins, but there are some other interesting things, obviously, to Phil's point, that have happened. There's been an ownership update. Phil just highlighted the Bob Nightingale report. Dan Hayes, The Athletic, had an update too on Griffin Jax, who requested out of the team. He actually requested a trade and got it granted. So we can get into a bunch of different things. Here's your state of the Twins, though. They're 52-59. They have a -43 run differential. They're 4th in the AL Central. They're 12 games back of the Tigers. They're 7 games back of the wild card. The key categories: 23rd in runs scored, 19th in offensive OPS, 10th with runners in scoring position. Pitching, they're 22nd in overall ERA. Starter ERA is 20th. Bullpen ERA is 23rd. But here's the bigger one, playoff odds. So Fangraphs has still was at a little bit of a higher percentage for the Twins to get into the playoffs than Baseball Reference. That number has dropped to 1.8%. It has dropped 20% in a week from Fangraphs, and now Baseball Reference also kind of mirroring that at 1.3%. So now two sites are basically in lockstep that after, hey, you nuke 40% of your roster, even though a lot of this stuff has to do with scheduling too, of who you have to play and the path to get there. Both these sites, and especially Fangraphs, have finally pulled the plug on the Twins, even having a remote chance of being a playoff team.
I mean, you're telling me there's a little bit of a chance.
That's true.
Let's shake off the nice little win yesterday. 1 foot in front of the other. Huh?
Yes. The bullpen is going to be an experience.
That's okay.
Yes,
if you score enough runs, Judd, you won't have to worry about it. Just have a 5-run lead going into the 8th inning every night.
So usually we do a vibe check. I don't know if we guys want to do a vibe check? Do you want to get into one of these reports off the jump?
I prefer to get into the reports if that's possible.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And I've got a vibe check about the manager off of these, but I think we should start with like the multitude of stuff that's circulating.
So let spin the wheel here, Dex. You stop the wheel on the Griffin Jax report, the Bob Nightingale. I think how the Correa thing went down kind of sets the scene for everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to break this up into kind of a too long didn't read. What are like the 5 most important things from this Bob Nightingale from USA Today reporting in great detail that the Houston Astros owner, Jim Crane, convinced the Twins that there was no way they could sell the team for $1.7 billion unless they stripped the payroll and dumped Carlos Correa. Is that a fair characterization, Judd?
Yeah.
So
it is like Jim Crane, who Nightingale also reports was golfing with Joe Mauer in Cooperstown at the Hall of Fame thing, and then doesn't really tie it back together, but
he kind of insinuated, like, here's the first part. Houston Astros owner Jim Crane, who was golfing with Twins Hall of Famer Joe Mauer last weekend in Cooperstown during Hall of Fame weekend, perhaps lit the first match in the fire sale in a casual conversation at the Leatherstocking golf course. He mentioned that the Astros might try to pursue Carlos Correa. And with the Twins so deep in debt, about $440 million, the Twins may have no choice but to dump him. I couldn't tell, like, did Mauer, like, relay that back to the poll lads? Was Nightingale there with them golfing, and he's just kind of putting himself in the catbird seat of the reporter here?
What's interesting, though, about that is I think it was the Sportico report on Friday mentioned the potential groups that like are interested in sniffing around the Twins and said there was one that involves Joe Mauer.
Right.
So it's almost as if Joe was like, hey, Jimmy, I got news for you.
We can't buy it unless you dump this clown.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crane told his general manager to call the Twins and see if they'd trade Correa and an outfielder and pick up $50 million of the $102 million left on the deal. The Twins laughed and hung up at that initial proposal. Once that stuff leaked out, so Nightingale put this out, the day of or a day before the trade deadline, whatever it was, Correa's phone started to blow up, and he started then considering, okay, would I waive my no trade clause for this? Astros owner Jim Crane refused to blink. He wanted to make sure the Twins understood the severity of their financial woes. The Twins are deep in debt. They're trying to sell the team for $1.7 billion. The team will be more attractive to every suitor, Crane said to the Pohlad family, if their payroll was slashed. Correa's contract happened to be the biggest financial commitment. The Pohlad family got back to Derek Falvey, and suddenly they were curious. So, like, GM to GM, Falvey laughs. Falvey's like, we're not going to trade Correa and an outfielder and pick up half the tab. So then the conversation escalates to ownership group. Crane, realizing that suddenly he had the Twins' attention, used his business acumen. The Astros kept hammering away at the Twins, and at one point even talked about first baseman Christian Walker being part of the package. I don't know how that would have worked exactly. He's like 35, 34, having a bad season. But by mid-afternoon Thursday, hours before the trade deadline, they got the Twins to swallow $33 million that would be spread over the life of the contract and essentially gave up nothing else to get Correa. So this was Jim Crane, billionaire to billionaire, saying, you guys are financially bleeped. You're never going to sell the team for $1.7 billion if you have that contract on your books. Hey, give us Carlos Correa for nothing. Come on. Wild. Absolutely wild. So this reportedly all happened above Derek Falvey's head.
Right. Which is why. But here's the thing that gets me. One is I love that mom and dad, like the kid gets the call, right? It's like, I'm not going to trade that. Bang. Mom and dad get the call. They're like, Derek, come in our room. It's like the freaking Brady Bunch. They get called. Yep, close the door. We need to talk to you. You need to seriously consider this. But here's the other part, okay? So Jim Crane scared the Twins into trading Correa. But where I come into this as a thought process is that was one of the smartest things the Twins did. Like, it frees up shortstop for Brooks Lee. Was Carlos Correa going to be part of the solution, or because he's a declining player? I mean, quite frankly, I think Jim Crane might have screwed up. But as we talked about at the beginning of the show, it's not just the moves, it's how the moves were made and what the Twins have been for a couple of years now. Like, to me, that's the thing, is this is embarrassing in that sense. And it, again, signals that the Pohlad, Carl almost contracted the team, but Carl also won 2 World Series. The family now and the kids now just want to dump this thing off, which they should do. But I actually like the fact that they got rid of Correa, and I don't care what the return was, but the way that this is described is beyond embarrassing, because it's clear that Falvey was just told, you're doing this, go get it done.
Yeah, and it adds up, too, because at no point in almost a decade of overseeing baseball operations has Falvey done anything close to either a fire sale or a full-on, all-in buy move, right? Outside of 2022, when they went out and got Tyler Mahle, and they got like 3 players at the deadline, and they gave up some pretty good prospects to do it, and it kind of blew up in their face. The process was right. Maybe they should have Googled the injury history of Tyler Mahle in retrospect. But outside of that, Falvey's general disposition at the trade deadline has been conservative, very conservative, both ways. I'd rather just kind of play it out, see what happens here. And so when they offload an historic amount of players, it did smell fishy, as if something was going on above and beyond what maybe Falvey, with just his own faculties, would have done at deadline on Thursday. So then, you guys want to get to the letter here?
Let's do the letter, sure.
So what we know is, we know that Bob Nightingale, who's as reliable sometimes he whiffs on like little transactional things, but when it comes to like deep embedded stories like this, I trust Bob Nightingale. Like, he's a super plugged in dude. This is more of an enterprising type report than like, and on this player is going to get traded.
And on the Carlos stuff, it's very clear that Scott Boros, who is the agent for Correa, has been singing like a canary to guys he likes. So, like, he's telling him, Jim Crane is not calling Bob and saying, hey, I snookered the Twins, you should see this. So, yeah, I trust this because it's a play-by-play, at least of how Boris perceives it. So it's coming from a real source.
Yeah. So, but just to set the scene here, we now know, if you trust credible baseball insiders, we now know that the Carlos Correa thing was forced above Derek Falvey's head. Mm-hmm. We know that Griffin Jax looked at the landscape and was like, respectfully or not, I don't know, I want out, right?
I don't think he liked the team too, right, Declan? Like, I don't think he liked Baldelli. I think the blow up on the mound and in the dugout last week
blow up like 5 days ago.
But I mean, I think that was, again, a Lifetime Achievement Award. I don't think it was one thing. I think it was, you guys make stupid decisions and I'm sick of it.
Yeah. He was definitely frustrated with the whole decision. And keep in mind the intentionally walking of Ohtani, which I actually side with Rocco in the decision-making there. You have to walk Ohtani, and he didn't like that. So there was friction. in the report from Dan Hayes, who dropped a great story this morning at The Athletic on it, is once the teardown was underway, this is from Dan, including the shocking deal which sent Correa back to the Astros, Jax asked his representation to put in the trade request, multiple league sources confirmed. And as little as 25 minutes before the deadline, Jax thought he was staying. He thought he was going to be remaining with the Twins. Then they obviously worked out the deal with Taj Bradley and stuff too. So yeah, once he saw the moves happening on Thursday, he said, okay, get me out. I don't want to be here.
So we know that, just to recap, we know that Correa was dumped for essentially nothing to clear up the Twins' financial situation and make it a little bit more appealing to get to that $1.7 billion sale price. We know that Griffin Jax asked out. And we also know that dating back to the winter between 2023 and 24, the Twins, by their own admission, by the owner, Joe Polad's public comments, are making decisions not to win championships, but in correlation with their business situation, right? So that as a backdrop, Derek Falvey sent a memo to Twins season ticket holders after the trade deadline on Thursday. By the way, buzz in whenever you hear something that moves you to buzz in, okay?
God.
The first sentence is, this week, we made a clear and deliberate decision to strengthen the next chapter of championship caliber baseball with the Minnesota Twins.
Well, knowing what we know, that's just a flat out lie.
It is.
It's just lying.
So I've kind of gone from like, oh man, it would be such a tough situation to be in if you're Falvey, and ownership, this cloud of ownership is just hanging over you since the playoff win in 2023. And you can almost empathize with, man, like it'd be really hard to do that job. Payroll coming down, $400 million in debt while they're trying to sell the team, and I'm trying to do my job. Almost feel empathetic. And then he writes, or ChatGPT or somebody writes, we made a clear and deliberate decision to strengthen the next chapter of championship caliber baseball for the Minnesota Twins. That is not why you made those moves on Thursday.
No, you lied. And here's the thing too. With all of this stuff, especially the Correa thing, okay? The team is eventually, knock on wood, going to be sold, right? This letter, the letter he wrote, the fact that he chose to write or gun to the head was told you got to do, should have been a letter of resignation to the Polads, because he's going to get fired anyway. Like this is the thing. You're embarrassing yourself. Like if you're Derek Falvey, have some professional pride here. You're literally going to lie to an entire fan base that sees through this and hates you now.
You kind of have three options. This would be one where you try to put lipstick on a pig and essentially lie, right? Which is, and I'll read the rest of it.
Yeah.
Option number two would be you float through reporters what really happened, and then then your bosses know how that information got out.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Which is akin to
or
resigning.
C, you do not. You make the moves, you sit in it, and you let your approval rating sink, and you live to fight another day. That would have been another option too.
But I think he was told.
Fans are going to be pissed off.
But I think he was told, we are going to release a statement, and it's going to come from you, because quite frankly, we as the Poleheads are so hated. You're hated, but you're hated less than us. It's just a complete embarrassment.
Yeah, he's the president too.
Yeah, the president of the...
It's
yes.
the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Man, if he wasn't the president, the gall and the decision it would have taken from Falvey to send out a letter on Friday saying, I'm out. Like, I can't even imagine how that would go. Or even Jeremy Zoll, who's, their de facto general manager. It's wild, man. It's absolutely wild.
And part of the issue is, like, this is such a prestigious job. Like, you work in baseball your whole life to get one of the 30 heads of baseball operations departments jobs. Probably makes well into the million. Like, he's a 7-figure salary guy. Like,
sure.
It's a really high prestige job, even when the conditions are difficult to operate within. And if you're him, you're also thinking, man, if we can just get to new ownership, then I can kind of plead my case.
But you're not going to make it. Like you
from the outside in, it's easy for us to
you're not
assume that. But but if you've been running that department, you think you could listen. Man, that dude has worked his way up ladders throughout his whole career.
You buy the team. Are you going to allow him?
That's not the question.
To remain.
Whether I would. The question is whether somebody else would view him in high regard.
But look at the Wolves. The Wolves have done the same thing. You bring your own people in. Like you don't buy this toy to be like, well, this Derek Falvey guy is cool. And again, I think it's necessary to fire anyone with a frontline job that is associated with the pole ads. The stench is so strong. I mean, keep going, but the stench of this thing is so strong now.
I love how we read one sentence of this.
6 minutes later.
It's a skunk. They're a skunk.
I'll read the rest of it after I tell you about North American Banking Company. How about that? Well, maybe you're in the market for a big purchase, something big financially up on the horizon, or you're just looking for a better, just general banking experience, checking and savings. North American Banking Company focuses on personal relationships, very friendly, knowledgeable people, and cutting-edge online tools that prioritize the safety and security of accounts. If you are looking for a better banking experience and one that's rooted in Minnesota since 1998, 6 locations in the metro, go to nabankco.com/Mackey. That's nabankco.com/Mackey. Judd, Stoked Barbecue.
Oh, barbecue season, folks. We are right in the teeth of a great time of year when you're getting out there and you're grilling. And I want to make sure that you're doing it with Stoked Barbecue Pellets, a company based and operated right here in our great state. Stoked solid oak firewood, perfect for your pizza oven, solo stoves, and tabletop fireplace. Don't forget, the barbecue caddy is just a great thing. If you know somebody who loves to barbecue, make sure that they have a barbecue caddy from Stoked. You can find their products at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores. Also, check out StokedBBQ.com for their deal locator to find other locations. But start your search for Stoked at Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores and enjoy a great time of year.
You know what the rest of the statement here? You guys can buzz in whenever you guys feel
Well,
compelled.
you told us to buzz in. I had to buzz in.
We didn't make surface moves. We acted with purpose. That meant adding players who can help now, deepening our talent pipeline for 2026 and beyond, and reinforcing the foundation for long-term success. This wasn't about patchwork or small adjustments. It was about holding ourselves to the standard we expect. The season so far hasn't met that mark. We knew it was time to respond. We've bolstered our pitching. We added arms. I'm going to buzz in. You can't with a straight face.
No.
It's not that they didn't add some potentially good pitchers in the future. Mm-hmm. But you can't say we bolstered our pitching after you traded multiple known really good pitching commodities with multiple years of team control left that weren't expensive at all, really, especially Louis Varland, man, that is callous. Louis Varland's a local kid who makes the league minimum, basically.
Who I guess was they said
awesome.
They said that he turned ghost white because the players were in like a conference room in Cleveland at the hotel.
He's already
and they're watching this. Well, I guess he's just like the front. I mean, I feel bad for. He is. I don't feel bad for the majority of these guys. I know they've got families and stuff, but quite frankly, if you want to stay here, play better. But Louis Varland was cheap on the uptick in a big way. Like I
savage, dude.
Yeah. And so I'm with you. And the other thing too is you traded for pitching for the future. Like this this whole thing feels like the ransom thing where Falvey's on the screen and there's a shadowy thing that you can see. I am fine here. We are trading for pitching. The pitching will be great. Like he's not writing this from a place of any sincereness.
Yeah, to say you bolstered your pitching after you traded multiple known high-end commodities for unproven lottery tickets.
Yep.
And it might be true that those unproven lottery tickets become really good pitchers too. But like you don't know. You traded known commodities, and if they were all expiring contracts, whatever, like you have to trade them. But you didn't have to trade any of the guys that you like the bullpen guys that we're talking about. So let's see here. We added arms ready to contribute now alongside others on the cusp of breaking through. The rotation has gained depth. The minor league system behind it has become even more robust. That's true. With emerging talent pushing the group forward. On the position player side, we brought in impact potential, players with the tools to grow into everyday contributors and raise the overall ceiling of the roster. The foundation is getting stronger, and we believe the next wave is starting to take shape. We know the moves spark reactions. That's natural. It reflects how much you care. That's why we're positioning the Twins to compete at a higher level, not just in the short term, but in a way that can endure the ups and downs of a long season. And that's the kind of team you deserve. The mission hasn't changed. We're here to build a team that can win a World Series. This is the next push. Thank you for your support. It's your passion that drives us every day.
So I don't hate some of these trades they made. And I'm
Agreed.
And I was on the record over the weekend and with you guys over our last two shows that this was not working and it's time to try something else. In terms of them competing for championships, are we also competing in the short term to be better? I mean, I don't really see how that's going to be a thing. I don't think that they're going to be much competitive for this year. It feels like to me, and I'm very excited to get to Target Field on Friday just to get a temperature of the room. I know it'll be a week later at that point. But, I mean, after watching your teammates get nuked, essentially, for the lack of a better word, and blowing up this entire roster and everything else, I feel like they're ready for the season to be over at this point. Like, I'm not saying that the competitiveness in them is gone because they're athletes and they're professionals and they'll push forward, but
these are great chances, Derek.
It's time for them to look ahead to 2026, and I don't blame them at all.
Rocco is very excited. I don't know what you're talking about in Cleveland. He said this is opportunity. We are looking at each day as an opportunity. He's become Harbaugh. Like, who's got it better than the Twins? Well, about 28 clubs. Okay, but so I don't have a problem with a ton of the moves. Blowing up the bullpen, like, I don't mind trading one of those guys. I don't even mind trading two potentially because the Duran return looks pretty damn good. The Varland thing, though, and I know they're saying, well, but we had to get that pitcher. But here's where I struggle. It's the lack of honesty. Falvey, do you not, and again, this is where common sense bites him in the ass every time. Do you not understand that the Carlos Correa thing, how it went down, is going to get out at some point, and now it's out? And the Twins will say, well, be careful what you pay attention to. That's always their comeback. Well, don't put too much credence in that. But at the end of the day, Falvey clearly, and I actually think he's a bit mistaken here, but still, he did not want to trade Correa. And for him to now act like these were moves that he had anything to do with, I guess if you want to remain quiet, but do not put out a statement where you are lying. I mean, Derek, you've become a human piñata within Target Field. You are a piñata, and the Pohlads have the bats. And they are swinging them at you and making you look dumb, and you're acting like, well, this is what I was doing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's my issue here.
It's not rooted in the truth. To say that the mission hasn't changed. We're here to build a team that can win a World Series. This is the next push. Well, they were as close to, I would say, World Series contention as they've been in a very long time in the fall of 2023. And then forces outside of Derek's control, so exonerating him, made it so that their decision-making was not aligned with winning a World Series, the mission. It was aligned with right-sizing the business and getting prepared to try and sell the team for close to $2 billion. That's the truth. And so it's so insincere to send this out and talk about clear and deliberate decisions to strengthen the next chapter of championship caliber Twins baseball, when that is not what has happened the last 2 years.
A few other things, too, of note from number one, from Dan's story in The Athletic, and then also an ownership selling update, too, that came by from Front Office Sports. So in Dan's story, he said following their trades, Twins owner Joe Pohlad phoned all 10 players traded to say thank you, a team source said. And one player said, quote, he seemed flustered. Him and Derek seemed very stressed out. Very stressed out.
Yeah, it makes total sense.
It seems like the Jim Crane Houston Astros discussion likely took place. It said with the Pohlads, but isn't it likely that Jim Crane's relationship with the Pohlad family is probably Jim Pohlad?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, they go
Very
back
likely.
Or
decades,
Jim said,
right?
Or Jim said, call Joe. I mean, the Pohlads got essentially bullied here into what Jim Crane wanted. My case is, I actually like it. But Yeah, and Falvey, I mean, it sounds like he didn't want to do a lot of this. Clearly, he did some of this. Like I'll go back to it. The Varland thing he did. Like that's not a we must trade this kid unless they didn't like him or something, which I don't know, and I wouldn't think that's the case. Yeah. But and if Joe Paul had made the calls, I'm sure that Joe was like, that's not his ballywick. So he would
Dex,
be.
you've been let go by Joe Paul before.
Yeah, was Joe nervous when he called you to wish you the best
the
of
radio
luck,
station?
The media mogul?
Number one, I'll say this. Joe was not present in that room. I had an HR person from the Pollads with me and my direct supervisor
That's what the
with
Twins
me,
players
okay?
should have had.
And then I had a nice handshake and conversation with Joe afterwards, all right?
And was he flustered or no, not flustered?
I don't know if he was flustered. It was, a dozen of us got laid off, so it's not exactly a happy, fun day.
Same with the Twins.
Yeah.
Hey, Griffin, it's HR. Go see him. What's going on? Griffin,
I'll just say this.
Walking
Walking into something like that, like, the moment you walk in, you know what's happening. Like, you're like, sure. Oh, God. And sadly, I really shouldn't compare it to, I have been on the other side where you're watching your other coworkers get let go, and that equally sucks. So both of those things are very awful things too. Awful things. From Front Office Sports over the weekend. So behind the scenes, there continues to be, quote, momentum towards a sale of the Twins franchise, according to a source familiar with the matter. The deadline frenzy comes as the team's longtime owners, the Pollad family, tries to sell the franchise, which was put on the block in October with a reported $1.7 billion asking price. Allen and Company is the one advising on the process. But it says later on in here from Front Office Sports, in fact, there could be news on that front within a matter of weeks, source said. And just to keep banging the same damn drum that I have been banging, I feel like, for the last year of this, until new owners come in. And even though you nuked the roster, which definitely still does hurt the fan base for sure, and what you did, nothing's going to fix this. Nothing is going to change the morale until new owners come in. So if that's in the matter of weeks, thank God, because the sooner, the better.
What do you think the vibe's going to be like, let's say, Friday night this weekend at Target Field?
Oh. Are fans going to show up to protest that one, or are we just going to have an empty stadium?
There's enough like casual Twins fans that just, it's a weekend, it's the summer, and if the weather's nice, it's a cool place to hang out. Yeah. With the baseball game being almost secondary, like that is the prevailing vibe at Target Field, anyways.
I'll say this: at the end of last year, when the collapse was completed and they fell out of the playoffs, and even like that week leading into it, there was a ton of boo birds for Rocco Baldelli. Now, Rocco, I don't know necessarily deserves the shoulder of those boos, but they're not announcing Derek Falvey and Joe Pollad out on the starting lineups for any games. So I bet we're going to hear some boos. Yeah.
Was it late last year, and I think it was Channel 9 had the story that a fan tried to get a sign-in or got a sign-in and got kicked out? Or was that 24?
That was last year.
He got kicked out.
That's what I'm curious. I'm curious if we got some folks trying to sneak signs in and stuff. I mean, there is definitely, and look, I get the fact that most people, heck, pre-trade, a lot of people were checked out, but there is definitely, and we've seen this, a faction of very pissed off people.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It is, there's a lot of people that want to buy in and that want what Derek said in his letter to season ticket holders to be true and the case. But unfortunately, it's so messy right now, and the Pollad approval rating as a family has never been lower, and it's been very low for many periods of the last 30 years.
Carl tried to contract the team, and it might be worse now.
And maybe it's just louder now because of, and especially where we operate in the depths of social media and YouTube and emails and all these things. But one last thing here, just on like Pollad ownership legacy. It is fair to say that objectively over the past 30 years, the Pollad family has presided over one of the least successful organizations in all of Major League Baseball. Like, so they won the World Series, and that was great, 87-91. But since 1993, the Twins have the fourth worst winning percentage in the American League. Since 1992, the lowest playoff winning percentage of any team in Major League Baseball, and the fewest playoff wins of any American League team. They have one of the worst records in baseball since opening the new stadium 15 years ago, especially if you start in 2011 and take those 15 years. So it's not quite Timberwolves Glenn Taylor territory, but both are kind of similar in that they had a nice little 8 to 10 year run of some contention, never won a championship, and a lot of mess before and after those 8 to 10 years.
Yeah, you're right. The bookends aren't good.
No.
Yeah.
The bookends are very, very poor. But this does feel, I don't know, it's probably in some ways recency bias. This feels worse to me than 2011 and 12 because I feel like there's more vitriol again. And that again could be, there's so many social platforms now to go on and complain about things. But this is an angry fan base that's soon to become apathetic. But I was actually surprised pleasantly at the amount of people who consumed our shows, certainly last week, and who were just lashing out. And I don't blame them.
Yep.
Very excited to cover the rest of this season. Very excited to bring you.
There's a lot of fun things to turn our attention to for whoever's ready to hear those conversations.
Yes.
Just sell the team. Dex is right.
We will catch up with Plouffe tomorrow, too, and we have not talked. We were texting a little bit, our group text on Thursday afterwards. Now that it's been 5 days, we'll get his temperature of that tomorrow on the SKOR North Twins Show. Appreciate you guys. We had an insane week last week on this channel. Super awesome to see everyone that has subscribed to this. It's really cool and validating, at least from my end and from Mackie and Judd's end, too. So thank you to everyone who continues to support the show. I'll still bring you plenty of Twins coverage. Hit the like button, subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show.